So in today's video, I want to cover the 16th largest crypto project that exists today by market cap, and that is Hedera HBAR. We're going to discuss the Hashgraph consensus algorithm. We are also going to discuss the inception of Hedera Swirls. We're going to talk about governance, the tokenomics of it, and we're going to do a deep dive into actually discussing what the Hashgraph algorithm is, how it's different from your typical blockchain, because believe it or not, the Hedera network does not use blockchain technology. It is a decentralized ledger system, and that's what makes it a crypto project. Now, so that you understand the relationship, Swirls is the company that invented the Hashgraph algorithm. The Hashgraph algorithm powers the Hedera network, and the native cryptocurrency is called HBAR. So if you're investing in Hedera, you're actually just buying the native currency, the HBAR token, rather than actually owning a percentage of the company, obviously. It's also really important to point out that the Hedera project is actually ISO 20022 compliant. If you're not familiar with ISO 20022, I'm going to make a separate video detailing that. But a lot of the cryptos that I've covered recently, including XRP, including Stellar Lumens, and now Hedera and HBAR, it's all ISO 20022 compliant, and you will see that a lot of these cryptos are flying during this bull cycle. There's a reason for it, because they could partake in being integrated into the traditional financial system, and we'll discuss that in a separate video. But today, I really want to get into what makes HBAR and Hedera so special and so interesting of a project that it's the 16th largest project. So let's start at the beginning. So Hedera is not even that old of a project, such as XRP or Stellar or Ethereum or some of these OG projects. Hedera's public mainnet actually just officially launched in September of 2019. That's not too long ago. The company Swirls was created, I believe, around 2017, and then they were working on a testnet. So if you're not familiar with the difference of a testnet versus a mainnet as far as crypto is concerned, a testnet is when a project is in the testing phase. They are testing the network. When something is considered mainnet, it is fully operational. There's a live version of the distributed ledger platform, like in Hedera's case, or in other cases, the blockchain technology, and that's when it's live. Transactions can occur, the use cases, the utility is already there, it's immutable. That is a mainnet. So this mainnet was actually launched in September of 2019. Now, the Hedera Hashgraph token, HBAR, it had its initial coin offering, so the ICO, in 2018, and then it also became publicly available in 2019, around the same time that the mainnet officially launched. So before we discuss Hedera's distributed ledger technology and how it's different from a blockchain like your typical Bitcoin or Ethereum crypto projects, because they use something called a Hashgraph, a gossip to gossip protocol. And by the way, this protocol and the code behind it used to be patented, and it used to be proprietary. It used to drive crypto purists nuts because it goes against the ethos of what crypto is supposed to be. It's supposed to be decentralized, open source, right? And when you have a company that says, oh, we're keeping everything private, people say this is so against what crypto is. And so they had a really passionate community that was against the project. A lot of this changed in 2022 because they went a lot more open source with it. But before I cover the Hashgraph, let me talk to you about the use cases of this Hedera project. What is it trying to solve? So yes, it's very unique. The Hashgraph is different than your typical blockchain, which is a selling point, but what exactly is it trying to solve? And by the way, the Hashgraph is not really battle tested because this isn't a giant project yet, and it also has only been around since 2019. So something like the blockchain of Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's all been kind of solidified as being relatively secure. Up until quantum computing and these supercomputers come out, we'll see what happens. But it is important to note that this project is still pretty new. The technology behind it is very exciting. It's solving some problems that your traditional blockchain struggled with. But again, it's important to mention that we don't truly understand all of the limitations until there's going to be more of mass adoption and testing of the actual network. And I really like to invest in things that are hardcore battle tested and I know won't just fall apart at the seams, especially when mass adoption starts to take place, because that's always the ultimate bullish scenario and something that people are hoping for, especially if they're investing in the underlying crypto, which in this case is HBAR. So one of the biggest use cases for the Hedera network is dApps, these decentralized apps. They want to pitch them to enterprise solutions, to anyone building on these type of public ledger platforms. The dApps aspect is huge as far as Hedera is concerned. Also, they have fast, low-cost payment solutions, just like a lot of these other projects. You're able to create and manage unique tokens, NFTs. They have smart contract capabilities. They're also aiming to target supply chain tracking solutions. There's gaming applications of it. There is, as far as HBAR goes, the securing of the network through staking. They also pitch a lot of transparent and immutable records, and this is helpful for those seeking secure digital identity solutions, fraud prevention. This technology can have a lot of use cases across many different industries. For instance, healthcare. It could facilitate the secure and efficient sharing of patient records, different types of medical data. And so to better understand this project, let's discuss the actual Hashgraph, this gossip to gossip protocol that Hedera uses. So the Hedera Hashgraph is designed for fast, secure, and scalable applications. So let's discuss how it works. Like I mentioned, instead of being a traditional blockchain, instead of using blocks of data linked in a chain, Hashgraph uses a graph of transactions. This is kind of like a timeline graph, a very intricate one. I might make a whole separate video detailing it, but put simply, every time a transaction happens, it spreads information using a process called the gossip protocol, where one node tells another and the information spreads really quickly like gossip in a barbershop or a small town. Now, to decide the order of the transactions, which is really important, this is like timestamps when it comes to typical blocks and like Bitcoin, it uses a technique called virtual voting, which eliminates the need for heavy computation like mining in Bitcoin. So what are the benefits of this? Well, it can handle thousands of transactions per second. It's much faster than many other blockchains. The transactions are ordered in the exact sequence they are received, ensuring fairness in the process. It is resilient to attacks and provides strong guarantees that data cannot be tampered with. That's the security aspect. Very, very important in these crypto projects. I do want to say though, it hasn't been around for a really long time, and I want to see what happens when this project is used on a mass scale, if it really has any vulnerabilities. And lastly, because it doesn't really rely on miners or proof of work, it uses very little energy compared to blockchains like Bitcoin or even Ethereum. So again, like other crypto projects, it's focused on being a really fast, fair, and secure solution in hopes that it makes it really suitable for enterprise level applications such as dApps and some of the other use cases I mentioned earlier. So now that we better understand or have a glimpse into the Hashgraph technology, what I really want you to understand now is the tokenomics behind HBAR, the native cryptocurrency that helps power the Hedera network. So let's take a bit of a deep dive here. So the native cryptocurrency behind Hedera is HBAR, and it plays a crucial role in the network's ecosystem. If you want to learn about HBAR, you can hover over here in the main menu of the website and then select Overview. And I would highly recommend carefully going through all of this literature because you definitely want to do your due diligence before investing in this crypto. Most crypto investors make the mistake of investing and then trying to find what the heck they're invested in, whereas you always want to do the research prior to and then make a decision of whether or not you want to be invested. So let's start from the beginning. When the project was created around 2018, there were 50 billion HBAR tokens that were pre-minted, and this capped it at a maximum supply of 50 billion. This is a fixed supply. This creates scarcity, hopefully over time, and potentially contributes to long-term value appreciation if you hold the token. The initial token allocation included 33% to the Hedera pre-minted treasury, 24% went to the ecosystem development aspect of it, 17.4% went to SAFTs and purchase agreements. So what the heck is SAFTs? SAFTs are simple agreements for future tokens. It's basically a legal contract used by blockchain startups to raise funds. So another 13.8% went to the founders, another 8% went to Swirls. And Swirls is the company that originally created the Hashgraph consensus algorithm and played a foundational role in developing Hedera Hashgraph. Currently, Swirls Labs focuses on advancing Hedera's ecosystem by building tools, open source components. They create a lot of applications that try to leverage the Hashgraph technology. So what exactly is the use case of this HBAR? Well, it serves as network fuel, right? If you're going to be using Hedera's network, it's used to pay for transaction fees, smart contracts, and file storage services. It also helps secure the network through staking mechanisms. You also have governance. So although currently it's managed by Hedera Governing Council, HBAR holders are expected to play a larger role in governance decisions over time. So if you hold a bunch of HBAR, later on, you will be able to have more of a say. There are low transaction fees in the sense that Hedera charges very low fees for transactions. It's around 0.0001 per transaction. If we take a look on CoinMarketCap, and by the way, I always advise that you switch from line chart to this candlestick chart. You'll be able to see the true peaks and the true lows. You can see here that around December 2019, you could have purchased Hedera for as low as 1 penny. And then in 2021, August, I believe it was, we saw a peak of around 57 cents, which means you could have more than 50x'd your investment, which is wild. We can see here that according to CoinMarketCap, there is a max supply of 50 billion HBAR, but please keep in mind that it is slightly deflationary because some HBAR gets burnt. You can also see that the circulating supply is almost at 80%. And again, the circulating supply, that's the amount of actual HBAR tokens that are circulating in the market and are in public hands. It's analogous to the flowing shares in the stock market. The current market cap is 10.48 billion, and you can see here that according to market cap, it is actually the 19th largest crypto project as of right now. Now, it is important to point out that there's a release schedule because Hedera employs a controlled distribution schedule managed by the Hedera Governing Council, and this slow release is designed to ensure stable and orderly network growth, allowing it to scale without compromising safety. This is akin to what the Stellar Development Foundation does. This is the same as escrow as far as Ripple Labs has with XRP. So it's important to mention that a lot of these ISO 20022 projects, they have this type of situation in place where it's not fully decentralized in the sense of the actual tokenomics. There's a healthy amount that the actual company behind the project holds. That being said, though, over time, they are trying to lessen the amount of control and influence they have over the actual crypto project and the actual network. And so over time, it does become more decentralized. If you want to learn more about the tokenomics, again, hover over the HBAR section in the main menu and select Treasury Management, and you will be able to see a lot of helpful information there. So now that we understand the tokenomics of the project a little bit better, let's now actually discuss the governance aspect of Hedera, because it is unique to a lot of these other crypto projects, both in a good way and in somewhat of a controversial way. So let's take a look at that now. So let's actually talk about who runs Hedera. So although Hedera does not have a single owner, it does have a collective amount of about 40 different organizations around the world that are actually making all of the decisions. Now, this is referred to as a council, and it's companies and organizations from different industries and regions, including technology, finance, academia. We can see here some that are globally recognized, like IBM, Google. You can see over here Boeing, Dell Technologies. If we scroll down, we even see Swirlds, which is actually the company behind Hedera. Now, some people do take issue with this because they feel like it's not really decentralized. This is not what crypto's about, to have a bunch of mega corporations running it. But that's a conversation for a different time. Let's discuss the responsibilities of these organizations. How do they run Hedera? Well, they set the policies for the network, they govern software upgrades, they manage the treasury resources, they maintain the decentralization and security of the platform. And I do want to point out that each member of the council, they have an equal vote, so that ensures no single entity can just dominate the decision-making process when they do have to decide on certain things. Let's also discuss node operators. So the Hedera network is powered by nodes, which are operated by these governing council members. And these nodes, they basically validate transactions. They will help to maintain the ledger. They're going to ensure the network's smooth operation. And I do have to say that in reading about the Hedera project, over time, Hedera does aim to allow community members and external parties to run nodes, further decentralizing the network. But right now, the way it's set up, I would not really say that governance is purely decentralized just because it's spread out over a couple dozen really powerful corporations and organizations. And yes, you can definitely argue, since there are nearly 40 companies and organizations, that this actually helps ensure that there's no disproportionate power. But at the same time, again, it's pretty powerful organizations running it. Some people are uncomfortable by it. Others actually like it. It feels like it gives it a lot of legitimacy and credibility. When you're speaking of companies like Google, IBM, these are really powerful brands and names to name drop. It's also important to point out that all council decisions are public and documented, promoting transparency, and there are limited terms for council members. So from what I've read, members do serve limited terms to ensure continuous rotation and diversification of governance. So for full transparency's sake, I'm currently not invested in HBAR. It's not because I think it's a scam or it's a shitcoin, or because I don't trust the whole governance aspect of it, or because it's not really tremendously battle tested, which is something I've factored into my decision-making process. It's because I took a look at a lot of the ISO 20022 crypto projects out there, and I went with some other ones like XRP. However, I'm closely watching HBAR. If I had a lot of extra cash, I definitely would have $3,000 or $4,000 invested in HBAR right now, but for good reason. About half a year ago, I bought a house. I'm paying a mortgage. I have a lot of investments that I don't feel like I want to pull those out in order to go into HBAR. That being said, though, if this video does well and I get a ton of ad revenue from it, actually any ad revenue I get from this video, it's my promise to you that I will invest it in HBAR as a thank you for watching this video. But I need to understand everything about a project before I part with my money. I don't care if I miss out on a little bit of a run. I really want to understand the project. It's important for me to have conviction, so I'm not just shaken out of the tree if there's certain price manipulation or dips in the market and all of a sudden I start panicking because I don't even understand what I'm invested in, why this is going to do well long term. And so it's important to me that I do all the due diligence. I'm like 80% there. There's a really good chance that in the next couple of months, I will slide a couple of grand into HBAR, or at the very least, I will wait for it during the next crypto winter when everything sinks to a really, really low point. Then I might go heavy into HBAR depending on the evolution and progression of this crypto project. I want to see, is the use case actually being utilized? Or is the utility actually seen seen as something really helpful and really fruitful by some of these organizations, companies? Is there more adoption of it? Is it really moving towards something that can be easily replaced? So with that being said, if you are invested in HBAR, if you've been following Hedera for a very long time, please mention it in the comment section. I honestly only learned about Hedera and HBAR around 2021. I've been following the project pretty closely, and I wanted to make this tutorial, this educational content on this project, because I felt like everyone else that is covering HBAR or looking at the project, they don't understand anything. They're just looking at the price chart and explaining technicals to you, or they know it's an ISO 20022 coin, and so they're just throwing it out there, but they don't quite understand the project. If there's any questions about Hedera or HBAR that I didn't cover, mention it in the comment section. And if you wish for me to cover a crypto that you're really interested in, also mention that in the comment section. I've always been fascinated with crypto. I'm a huge proponent of it, and I want to learn as much as I can, and I want to learn with the rest of you. And I promise you, no discords. I'm not selling you on any courses. I don't want you to click on any affiliate links. Let's just learn together. With that being said, I hope to see a bunch of you in the next video. Until then, don't just keep an eye on your crypto portfolio. Keep an eye on your mental health. Spend time with your loved ones, your friendships. Keep it in perspective. Crypto portfolios, having heavy bags, that's all great, but that's not what life's about. So please live a balanced life and maintain your happiness and mental health. And I will see all of you in the next video.